It is January the 7th, 2016, and welcome to the At Savvy YouTube channel Tech Show. Thanks for joining me, guys. This year I've decided to do something a little bit different. I've got over 20 years experience in the technology field, everywhere from doing HMI computer boiler systems and programmable logic controllers, all the way to building computers, everyday help with technology, anything from a smartphone to computers, to printers, peripherals, you name it. I'm basically here to help you. So, for the past few years, I've spent many hours doing technical support with my clients, and a very vast array of clients. And I've decided that this year I would really like to focus on helping everybody as a group. There's so many questions that I run into over and over again when I'm working with my clients, and they're very generic questions, and I think everybody can learn from them. So what I've decided to do for this year is compile a weekly video, and probably just starting out with some maybe 15-minute videos, and from there would like to get a little more in depth, but I'm here to do what you guys want to see, okay? So I would love to hear from you. SavvyTechGirl@gmail.com. That's SAVY Tech TECH girl, GIRL @gmail.com. You send me some emails and let's put together some weekly shows where we can help everybody. We can even do some maybe weekly questions and answers. I would love to be able to interact that way through Facebook. So this is it for the year, and hopefully we can expand. I'm going to do some podcasting, putting a new website up. So hopefully I can sort of guide you with your technology questions, and we can all learn together. So here we are. So thanks again for joining me. This is episode number 1, and today I am going to focus on Windows 10. A lot of people received computers, technology devices over Christmas, and if anybody did receive a computer, you've noticed that it did ship with Windows 10 on it. You can still get Windows 7, but by default they do ship with Windows 10. Okay, so first of all, I just want to answer a few questions about Windows 10 that I get on a regular basis. So I want to clear those questions up first, and then I'm just going to give you a quick overview. I just want to show people around, get them a little bit more comfortable with it, and please feel free to send me questions. Anything I haven't covered, we'll cover it in the next session. I can always do an update during the week as well, and then I'll also answer your questions directly. All right, so Windows 10 was released on July the 29th, 2015. It is a free update that comes out, and you will notice everybody gets that little nagging window at the bottom right hand corner of their screen that shows that Windows 10 is now available for download. If you are seeing that icon, that clearly means that your computer is ready, and Windows checks in the background, so it's making sure that all your drivers and everything's compatible, everything from your sound to your video to your modems. Everything has been checked. So if you do see that icon, and by now most of you would have seen it, you're all ready for the download. Right? That doesn't mean you have to download it. It just means that your computer is ready. Okay, so that's the first thing to cover. The second thing is, the question I get is, Louise, is it really free? Absolutely. Windows have decided that just like Mac and just like Linux for all these years have been providing free upgrades. I mean, Linux is an open source operating system, so you never have to pay for Linux. Windows have decided that they're going to start doing the same thing. So Windows 10 is actually going to be the last revision of Windows, the last big revision of Windows. It's always going to be Windows 10. However, they will be rolling out continuous updates. So many of my clients have said that since Windows 10 upgrade, they get updates almost nightly, almost daily, and that's absolutely true. They are updating it constantly. There has been one huge revision, or a big revision anyway, since it was released in July, and Threshold came out, and that came out at the beginning of November. So they're constantly working on it, and they will constantly be rolling out updates. This is going to keep going on forever, and make sure that you do have your automatic updates set up. And you want to make sure that you're keeping up to date, okay? Because if you fall behind in your updates, then it's possible that you may run into some problems when it comes to your hardware compatibility. So it's just important to do that. Now, if you get to January or July the 29th and you have not downloaded and installed the upgrade, you're out of luck. So at that point, unless they do decide to extend it, which is possible, but at that point you will have to pay a fee, which I think is going to be around $100, to Microsoft in order to put Windows 10 on your machine. Okay? Keep in mind that to qualify for the free upgrade, you're going to have to be running either Windows 7, Windows 8, or 8.1. Anything prior to Windows 7, you have to pay for the upgrade. And really anything prior to Windows 7, you need to make sure that the hardware in your computer is compatible anyway. But you would have to pay in those circumstances. And again, it's free until July 29th. So if you're looking to upgrade, then absolutely do the download and apply the update to your computer. Now, the download is a large file, and it will take a long time to download. So you may find, or you may have found in the last couple of months, that sometimes your computer was running a little bit slowly, and that is because you initiated the download, and while you're working on your computer, it was downloading in the background. So they allowed you to keep working on what you were doing, and once it was fully downloaded, it then asks if you would like to install it. So you can go ahead and do the download. You do not have to install it at this point. You can install it at a later date. And that's one way that you can do it. Or absolutely go ahead, do your install, and make sure you back up first. Right? Windows will give you that option during the upgrade to do a backup. Just make sure you do a full backup and before you go ahead with it. The other good feature for this upgrade is if you don't like it, you have 30 days to roll back your previous Windows install. That means do not delete your backup files that are created on the computer. Make sure you leave them there for the 30 days until you know that you're happy with it and that everything's running well. I have had numerous customers that have done rollbacks, and had they deleted those files, they pretty much would have been out of luck and would have lost their stuff. So just make sure that you do all those steps. So you want to do a full backup. You want to install it prior to July the 29th of 2016. And make sure that you have that icon. If the icon's not there, your computer's not ready yet. All right, so now we can jump into looking at the actual operating system. So as we know, Windows 10 is an operating system. And we're going to take a look at what they've done. So everybody knows, or you've heard, that Windows 8, Windows 8.1, wasn't exactly a huge success among the consumers. And the reason for that is it was really designed for tablets, for a touchscreen environment, and it became a little bit bulky and a little bit difficult to use if you were just using it as a regular computer. So what they decided to do is they decided to blend Windows 7, which was a fantastic operating system. I still run it on most of my machines, and Windows 8.1 or 8 together. Okay, so what they came up with was exactly what you're looking at here, apart from obviously I have my own desktop background. And I don't have any affiliation with the Happiness Factory movie or Coca-Cola, so I just want to put that disclaimer in there. It just happens to be the background I have. So I do love Coca-Cola. You guys are fantastic. All right, on to looking at Windows 10. So I'm going to keep this very simple. We're not going to go into detail. We're not going to go into any settings. This is simply an overview of Windows 10. So you can see it's very clean looking. The icons have been made more square, right, than they were previously. We do have the famous Windows Start button back. Looks different, but it is a Start button. We have our icons, our quick launches along the bottom, as we've always had. And we also have in the right-hand corner our time, our language, notifications, volume. So all these things have remained and nothing has changed. Okay, I'm going to just go over briefly what these are. So we've got our time and our date, and we have our language. This icon here is slightly new. Last time it was, I believe it was a flag that would come up with notifications, and now we just have a little sort of a bubble icon. And that's going to show you things like the mail that's come through for you, what devices are turned on and what devices are turned off. You can have quiet hours, you can change the brightness. So just a quick taskbar, but it's just an action center for you that you can check things quickly. Okay, we have network, so that shows that I'm connected to the internet. We have our volume, so again, you just click on that and you can change your volume. I'm on a laptop, so it's showing me the battery is fully charged. And then other icons or programs that I'm running in the background. Now, just so you know, there is an antivirus built in to Windows 10. It's called Windows Defender. So you no longer have to worry about putting a Norton's on or an AVG on. This is something that is now built in. Although you don't see an icon to tell you that it is running, it is running. And if it's not running, you will get a notification that says that you don't have antivirus running. But it's now built in, so it's something you don't have to worry about. And we'll talk about antivirus down the road. Okay, so like I said, you've got your quick launch menu right here, so that hasn't changed. Icons may be a little bit bigger by default. Again, you can change all that. We have our start menu, which everybody wanted back, and that's one of the biggest things that Microsoft did, was bring our start menu back. And then you've got your desktop icons. So you can still right click and you can still get submenus, menus and submenus. You can change your backgrounds quickly. You can do your display settings. So everything from that point is still the same. One feature that Microsoft added was the ability to have multiple desktops, which finally they've decided that is a good idea. I mean, this is something that Linux has been using and Apple have been using for years, right? And if you're working on things like I do, where you're doing projects or you may be doing spreadsheets, budgeting, it's very handy to be able to create a new desktop. And I can go into my desktop and I can, let's say, open, I don't have Office on here, but let's just say I'm going to open Paint. I just reformatted this computer, so I really don't have much running, but right, so I can work on something over here, and then I can switch back to my previous desktop, and that application's not running on it. So it's a very clean way of keeping things separate. I have multiple businesses, so I can have one of my businesses, I can be working on the information here, and then I can have another business, I can be over here, and maybe I can have all my clients and products that they're buying, etc. So it's really is a great way to keep organized. They're not the most advanced desktops that are out there, but it is a start. I'm glad to see it, and hopefully they'll tweak it down the road, and then we can start using it a little bit more as a power user. But again, it's great. It's good to see that they've added it. And that's the icon just beside your search the web or Cortana task view. Okay, it's a slightly different name, but I guess the idea is you have multiple tasks running. Now the search bar here, what they have done is, and I have it turned off right now, but Cortana is like Siri. So anybody that's familiar with Apple and or Google, right? Google Voice, Google Talk. Cortana has come along for Microsoft, and Cortana is going to be the same idea as what you're doing with Siri. So you can ask it what the temperature is somewhere, or what time is it, or look up a document, or anything. So it's a way that people can use voice commands as opposed to actually having to type. I'm really not one for speaking to my devices, whether it be a phone or a computer. I know some people like to do that. I always feel that when I'm in a crowd, I look a little bit odd, but that's just me. And I would rather be more private and type things in instead of speaking. But you know what? The option's there, and Cortana can be set up very well. You can, Cortana will call you a certain name. You set all that up. She answers specific to how you've created the settings. So it is a great tool, and I think that as time goes by, people get more familiar with her. I just really haven't spent a lot of time working on Cortana, so I really can't give any feedback on what I think she's like. I did ask a couple of things, and the answers I got weren't anything like what I was looking for, so it may have just been the way I asked the question. But saying that, I don't use Siri a lot. I very rarely use Siri, and it's, as I said, it's along the same lines. But you can also use this area here to search for something either on the internet or on your computer. So if there's something on my computer and I don't want to search for Word, or I don't want to go to the start menu and find Notepad, I can type the program name, Notepad, and it will bring up all the apps, right, that have that name. So I can click on it and open it. So for that, the feature is very good. I mean, obviously we've always been able to do that in Windows from Windows 7 and 8. But it's just a little bit cleaner. I think they've made the box a little bit larger, so a bit more self-explanatory than it has been in the past. Okay, now for the start button. So finally we have something that looks like what we are used to in Windows 7 all the way back to Windows XP. The start button's what everybody wants, right? We're familiar with it, and we loaded Windows 8, or we bought a machine and all of a sudden we're in a panic. It's gone. Where is it? I'm a tech person, and the same thing happened to me. I installed the beta version of Windows 8, put it on my computer, started it up. I was lost. So if I feel that way when I install something, you need to look at the end users that aren't familiar, and it's a fairly big shock. There was ways around it, and I definitely got used to it, but at first, when I installed it, that was a big shock. So Microsoft took that feedback from all of us, thank goodness, we all gave them feedback, and decided it was time to bring the start menu back, right? So instead of calling it programs, they call it apps. And the reason for that is all these little squares are now apps. So it's no different than your phone, your Android, your Android TV box, all the same, all running on apps. We don't call them programs anymore. Okay, so I can click on all apps, and it's going to show me all the apps that are installed on the computer. So it's very good. It's self-explanatory, alphabetical order, numbers coming first, right? Fantastic. And it will also show you that this is a new program. I just installed it yesterday. So you can see that you don't have to search for things, right? You install something yesterday and then you think, oh, what was that called? Now we can just scroll down and see it says new. And then there's a sub menu there because there was an arrow, and that's new, right? Perfect. So you've got those features. You can also go, and many people are familiar with this, but the Microsoft Store, you can go in there and you can start downloading apps to use with your Windows 10. So instead of going on the internet and going to Facebook, you can just download the Facebook app, or you can download, all these apps. You can download the Amazon app or the Reader app. Now, some of them are better than others. I tend to steer towards the internet side of things as opposed to apps. I think apps run very well on Apple and Android. I think Microsoft have a little bit of tweaking to do, and obviously it's not Microsoft, it's the actual app developers. So, I've used the Amazon one. I did run into some issues. It wasn't as good as just when I go on the internet, and it definitely wasn't as good as the app that I use on my iPhone. So it's just a matter of sort of playing around with things and getting familiar, but it's very simple, right? I just click on the app, no different than on your phone, or anybody that was familiar with the Windows 8 and Windows 8.1. So same thing. And you can see it's doing the download, and once it downloads, it'll be in our all apps, and then we'll be able to start it up. All right, so not much has changed, but they have really molded together Windows 7 and Windows 8. And from that point of view, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I've only had a couple of times working on a Lenovo all-in-one desktop, slightly older machine, that I've had it crash on me, and I've actually had the blue screen of death. But a simple reboot has fixed that. So I'm very pleased as a power user so far of what I've seen on Windows 10, and I've been using it for about a year now, going back to the beta version. So that's, I just wanted to give you a familiar look around just so you can get used to it. And if you have it, just to get you familiar with the different areas of it. The control panel, I mean, a lot of people aren't going to get into the control panel, but this is the same look and feel as our old control panel, which is nice. It's very familiar. And, simple uninstall programs is still there. System and security, so we can go into the firewall. And here you're going to see what your firewall settings are. So that part of it, nothing has changed. And back up and restore, so you can back up and restore from Windows 7, restore files, do your backups. So all of that is still the same. It's really just the look and the feel that they changed, and it is much more stable environment. So I hope that gives you a basic overview. As I said, I didn't want to get into any detail. I just simply wanted to explain about the free upgrade, and it is absolutely free. I wanted to explain what the difference is and why they did it, and just to let you know that Windows 10 is it. They're not going to have 11, or they're not going to have Windows 12. This is it, and just constant revisions coming out. There's another major update coming out very shortly, so you will see that downloading and installing onto your computer. And just make sure you keep those updates coming in. Don't turn off automatic update. It's only going to cause you headaches, okay? So from @SavvyTechGirl, that's my Twitter handle. You can get a hold of me. Please follow me on Twitter. And you can also email at me at savvytechgirl@gmail.com. I would love for you to send questions, and I'd love to know what you want to know about. And I'm more than happy to answer your technical questions from all over the world. Okay, guys, so thanks for joining me for our very first episode. And I will be back next week. I'm going to try and broadcast on a Sunday, and hopefully be up online on the Monday. And I will be including things. I'm going to be talking about SBMC, Kodi, and I'm going to be talking about, I would like to talk about Microsoft Office, maybe do some Excel, some Word lessons even. So, you know what? Send the questions in, and let's get us helping each other, and that's the best way to learn. So thanks again for joining me, and from @SavvyTechGirl, I'd like to wish you a great day, and I will see you very soon. Thanks, guys.